What is up, YouTube? The Dragon here. I'm gonna make this video on pre-trips and basic maintenance that you need to do. Well, maybe just mainly a pre-trip, because that's part of maintenance anyway. Cheeto Joe requested that I do this, so let's get started. I don't know how long this is gonna be, but because I gotta explain everything, I usually just do everything real quick. But first thing I like to do is turn my truck on, and we have this cool little switch we can do to turn the lights on. I get out of my truck and grab my gloves and my tire thumper if I have a trailer with dual tires. So bear with me, I'm putting my gloves on. Gotta keep those hands clean, guys. Alright. Put my tire thumper in my pocket here. Alright, close your door. Always close your door so no people get in your fucking truck. So first thing I do is I walk to the front of my truck and check all the lights. I check my ID lights, my marker lights, they're working. And then I check all my other lights. My blinkers are working, my day running lights are working, high beams are working, and my regular headlights are working. Check my grill, my bumper, the mirrors, everything looks alright. My truck's not leaning, and I look under here. Well, my truck didn't leak anything. That's because Val's a good girl. She treats me right. I come over here, when I unlatch my hood, check this blinker light and everything, it's fine and working. Unlatch this side. As I come back over to the driver's side, I check this marker light and turn signal, it's working. Unlatch my hood. And I'm scrawny, so I gotta put my whole body weight into this thing. Ugh. It opens like so. Now I like checking the driver's side first. I got my own little system of doing things, so this is how I do it. Check my washer fluid, it's fine. My intercooler hose and tube is fine. The clamps are tight. I see nothing is out of place or broken or cracked. My air breather is fine and in place. My one of the fuel filters or oil, I think that's a fuel filter, is fine. Come down here and check my power steering pump. It's okay, the hose is fine and not cracked or anything, the clamp's good. And I forgot exactly what this is. I think it has something to do with the air system or the like the air cleaner or something, but it's fine. And from there, I check my steering rod. It's fine, intact, it's not loose. My universal joints are okay and lubed up. My power steering fluid's okay, the level's fine. The reservoir's not broken or anything. And mind you, I go through this in my head very, very quickly. I just have to look at it and know it's good. And my oil cap is still on there, it's not loose. My oil dipstick, it's not broken or anything, and usually I'd have a paper towel on me and check my oil, but I just checked it yesterday and it's okay. From there, you got your steering gearbox, it's in place, lubed, all the nuts are good. Your pitman arm and your drag link, these are okay. From there you can check your castle nuts, one here, one there, and there's one on the tie rod under there. I don't know, it's hard to get these angles just right, but somewhere under there. Cotter pins are in place and all that. My shock absorber is good, not leaking, no rust, the bolts are tight. My leaf spring hanger on each side on the front. My anchor plate and U-bolts are good. And then you got your tie rod, which is this rod right here that goes all the way across, and your steering knuckle, which is this thing right here, and that kind of goes all the way across. Alright, From there, I'll check my brake stuff. So you got your brake chamber ring, brake chamber hose. They're all in place, not been cracked or broken, none of that bad stuff. Now my truck has automatic slack adjusters, so I don't really have to worry about them, but this thing right here is your slack adjuster. It's good. Usually sits at a 90-degree angle, and if you pull on it, it shouldn't pull more than a 1/4 inch or so, or 1/2 inch. Alright, so from there, you gotta check your actual brake assembly. You got your the whole brake system, your brake pads or brake linings, and then the drum. You want to make sure there's no illegal holes or welds and that there's no grease on the inside. Those look good. Now you got the inside of your rim. No illegal holes or welds. It's not bent, cracked, or broken, and it's good and checked out. You go from there and check the whole inside wall of your tire, the whole top of your tire, and then the outside of your tire. Check for any screws or metal objects or any thing that might be stuck inside. Make sure you have good tread depth. You need 4 30-seconds up front and 2 30-seconds in the rest of them, the rear of the tires. Rear tires, I can speak English. From there, check the rim. Is the rim still look good, not bent, cracked, or anything? From the rim, check your lug nuts. Do you see any rust or shiny metal? Do they all look tight? If you see any rust or shiny metal, that indicates that they are loose or have come loose. From there, check your hub. This is a hub oil seal. It's okay. You can tell it's a hub oil seal because it has this little nipple on it. Make sure it's not leaking or anything. And then after you do that, check your valve stem. Is it bent, cracked, or leaking any air? Now that usually completes my that does complete my driver's side. Now I'll walk over here to the passenger side. Alright. My coolant's nice and full, it's not leaking, cap is on. The intercooler hose and piping is okay, clamps are good. My breather, it's all intact and all that's good stuff. My radiator hose is good. The bottom radiator hose is good, clamps as well. The AC compressor, I don't really use my AC all that much, but it looks good and all that. My alternator, the alternator is good and wires are still there and it's not bent or any of that good stuff. My water pumps down in here is good and not leaking, bent or cracked. From there I like to check my my belts. I can't really get this camera right because I can't, well, here we go. My belt, there's no more than 1/4 inch of play, or there's not too much slack in it when you pull on it. The alternator, the other belt under here is good. And then check your fan. Check all the blades. They're not cracked or bent or broken. That's all good. Let's see, from there I usually go look at my turbo. My turbo's good, intact. And check any other hoses you might have. I mean, it's good just to look at every single thing you have in your engine compartment. Your oil pan down there, make sure it's not, cracked or leaking. And from there, it's back to the suspension stuff. It's all, all the suspension stuff is a repeat of itself, so it gets easy after time. You got your hangers, each side on the front. I already went over all this. Your leaf spring, the anchor plate U-bolt, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty much just a mirror of what I did on the driver's side. And that all checks out. Don't forget to open up your hood release thing so you don't break it when you try to close your hood. After that initial check, I just go ahead and close my hood. And now I start to walk around the rest of my truck. Close the hood latch. You want to check for any damage. Make sure nobody hit your truck while you were asleep. Also, you get these little creepy crawly motherfuckers out here that want to fuck with your truck and mess with your stuff. So you got to make sure everything's still in place. My chains are still good. Nobody messed with them. My gas tank cap is still on, or diesel tank, whatever. Check the back of your cab, make sure everything's good. Check the header board of your trailer, everything good. Check your frame. Frame is good, your cross members are good. From there, I like to dig down to the drive shaft and universal joints. And these all look good. Check my exhaust hangers. Those are all good. My wires all look good and intact. My brake hoses and all that are good. And my torsion bars are good. And all these suspension stuff is pretty much a repeat. The only exception is you only have one leaf spring hanger on the back. You have this big one up front, and the rest of it attaches to your airbag. So your airbag here is good, and the plates are good. You know, your tires back here are all the same, with the exception of the drive wheels got a hub axle seal, and you want to check the lug nuts on these as well. While you're under here, you might as well check your skid plate or apron of the trailer. Or maybe it's the apron of the fifth wheel and the skid plate of the trailer. Either way, check it, make sure it's not messed up. Check your fifth wheel while you're under here. The bolts are all good. And on my truck, I got this little nut right here that pops out if someone pulled my fifth wheel release handle. Check that, make sure it's still closed. And even though you check that, you still might want to crawl under here and make sure that your fifth wheel, your locking jaws are tightly wrapped around the kingpin and shank of the trailer. That's all good. And my lights down here are good. Check your mud flaps. Just get a quick glance of underneath the trailer, make sure it's good, your landing gear is good, and just check the rest of the side of your trailer, make sure nobody hits you. My light's cut off, I gotta cut them back on. I guess I took too long explaining stuff. Let me run back up there and cut my lights back on. See, it usually only takes me a couple minutes to do this, but I gotta sit here and talk through everything. Hey, I locked my truck. Awesome, hold on, I only got one hand. La da 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 da. Cut those light checks back on, alright. So, I'm walking down the side of my trailer again. I pull out my tire thumper. Check my side turn signal, side directional light, marker light. Well, this isn't a marker light, it's a side directional light or turn signal light. Make sure it's working. Come back here, you know, you want to check your torque rods, your air hoses, and, you know, while you're down here, check your sliding tandem pins. Make sure they're locked and in place, because people like to unlock them and that can cause you problems. Everything under here checks out. Look at your tires. Same process, only if you have dual tires, take your tire thumper and beat the devil out of them. Just get a feel for how the tire bounces, how it sounds. Hit the other one. These sound about the same and they're bouncing alright. If you get like a dead kind of thump and it soaks up all the energy, that means your tire's low and possibly going flat. If it doesn't have this nice ring to it, it's probably flat or something, or low on air. Check your mud flaps under here. Sometimes they fall off or people unscrew them. Your side marker light down here. Your ID lights up top. Make sure there's no damage back here. Check your seal, it's still intact. And your license plate, and shit. Well, anyway, the lights still work. and wait for them to come on. There we go. Your DOT bumper is still good and intact. This light still works. ABS light. Come over here, check the suspension and tires over here. Do the same thing, just beat the devil out of them. And they sound pretty good. Walk over here, check the damage, check for any damage on this side, check the light. Light is good. Making my way around town, walking fast. Nobody messing with my crank handle. Landing gear is still up. And this gives you a good chance to check these tires and all the suspension. And my fifth wheel release handle is locked in place. When I make my way around here, gas tank cap is still here. My glad hands are still closed in place. Nobody unhooked them or did anything funny with them on either side. And that pretty much sums up the pre-trip, guys. So, yeah. As far as maintenance and all that goes, just here, I'll show y'all. Let me take my gloves off. Alright, so as far as maintenance goes, I have a basic, regular mechanics toolbox. It's helped me take apart plenty of cars and all that. Extra glad hand seals, lights, anything extra you might need. I got a funnel back here. I got some new CB antennas I need to put on here. Fifth wheel release handle, puller, comes in handy. But maintenance wise, try to keep 2 gallons of each fluid. So I got 2 gallons of oil, washer fluid, and coolant in here. Also power steering fluid, because it's just good to have in case your truck eats it up. On the other side there, I got a shovel and my toolbox that has the rest of my tools in it. It's just full of basic tools. Me being like I call myself a basic mechanic. I have all the knowledge on how to do everything, but I don't really have much hands-on experience with everything. But I know how to work my way. Don't forget to close your latch on this side so your hood doesn't fly open. But it's good to know your way around mechanical stuff if you want to be a driver, because you don't want to sit on the side of the road waiting 2 hours for road service when you can just fix the issue yourself. Because like I said the other time, or about a week ago, I picked up a trailer and it had the wrong glad hand seal on it. So I had to pull the old one off, and luckily I had these bag of seals, and it, saved me a bunch of time because I could fix it myself. But anyway, that's how I do my pre-trip. It goes a lot faster when I'm not recording myself, but once you get in the habit and break it down in a system, your own little system of doing it your way, it doesn't take you any time. It doesn't take you any time to complete a pre-trip. And yeah, you still have to log it on your logs, but those of you that are smart out there can figure out ways of maximizing your time. So anyway, I hope that answers your question, Cheeto Joe. And as always, drive safe and be water, my friends.